I'm trying to press the buttons, but they're not working. Or I'm trying to find the buttons and they're not working. So, man, there is lots coming through right now, people. Whew, it's yeah. That's all I got to say. Yeah. Yeah. Um just looking at some of the things that are happening within right now, when it comes to the economic energies and stuff that are coming in, and when in looking like the thing is, I'm not an economist. I just stumble upon information and stumble upon people who are economists, and I love that shit. I didn't do very well with it in school or anything like that, but I love to listen to people. And especially when I know, when I bring in the astrology and I'm just like, oh my God, how, especially the ones that don't follow everybody else's narrative, which I really love. And listening to what they are, because I know Canada says our inflation rate is 5.7%. Actually, and I think I've mentioned this before, our inflation rate is up over 15% at this time. It's gonna get higher. They don't want to say that. They don't want you to get frightened by it. But I think things are just starting to get a little bit crinkly. So let's go into what has transpired for me over the last little while. Well, I woke up in a ball of anxiety and feeling very out of sorts. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, did the bomb go off? That's how I felt. Did the bomb go off? And so I didn't look to see if the bomb went off, but what I wanted to look into is the solar flares. And the solar flare intensity and the solar flare weather has been really, really strong and really activated at this time. And we're also going through the balsamic moon and heading into a new moon in Aries. So this is, deeper, this is deep transformation that's occurring currently. And it's activating the spleen meridian. Now the spleen is connected to the earth energies. And the spleen is also in human design. Now, just let me get this. Now, the spleen also, bum, 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 your defined spleen is a constant communication with what serves you and what does not. That's if it's a defined. That means if it's, anyways, in human design. So if you got a defined spleen, it is tied to your well-being and listens to all those little messages your body's telling you. It's not about the survival, but it's about thriving. So that's your spleen, and it's connected to the earth. So right now, with all this activation that's coming into the earth right now, our spleen is being hit. And then our spleen is also by our tummy, our stomach. So we have this digestion energy that's coming in, and how we are digesting all what is going on upon this earth and what is happening upon this earth. How are we, whoopsie, never a really a good excuse. How are we digesting it, caller, with all of this? Oh my God, everything all comes at me at once. How are we digesting all of this energy? And this is also coming in with and I got like the sea glass energy coming in with the layers of the earth and the coronal massive flares that are happening. There's a huge activation that's happening with us now. With solar flares, we always have a solar flare activity. We're also in alignment to when the solar flare hit the earth. And when this solar flare hit, it was at the turn of the century. And what happened, all the telegraph systems, the trans union line in the Atlantic Ocean, anyways, everything went down, lights went down, electricity, everything. We've had quite a few that have sort of missed the earth at this time. So this is where we're feeling tired. There's headaches, sleeplessness, digestive issues might be coming in, extra fluid retention. And the extra fluid retention is part of our protective mode as we are detoxing a lot of toxic energies that are coming through us. Now we have these deep levels of transformation that are coming in energetically. And our spleen is, this connecting us, trying to bring us into a connection within that spleen meridian. Now, this is about deep healing. And with all the programming that's coming in, this is also having with Chiron to accept all that has happened within our life. Accepting. Now, if you are not accepting parts of your life, if you're still angry about things in your life, or if you're dismissive about parts of your life, then there's a hole. There's a hole. Now, this isn't about being perfect, because we're not perfect. We're humans. Humans are not perfect. But this is about understanding and just coming to that point where we can accept all that God has offered and bringing in all what has been offered to us, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And with the moon being in Pisces right now with Jupiter and Neptune, when the moon comes around next year and the sun's in Aries, we're not going to, it's Jupiter's not going to be there. We're not going to witness this again in our lifetime. This is about our ego because it's about the head. That's what Aries is. Aries is the ego, the I am. What am I? Who am I? This is the hard-headedness and what we can't accept, and can't accept that all that God is offering us. And it's hitting our spleen area, our connection with the earth. And this is realizing the crazy world outside. And we have to accept. And that's what I keep, we have to accept this. We have to bring this energy into an acceptance into our life, that where what's ever happening in the world, it's happening. It needs to happen. The changes need to occur. Even if it's those crazy disruptions that we don't like. This is coming in because of our hard-headedness, our tough, we have these tough, like, I've been pulling out a lot of knights, like the Knight of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Air, and the Knight of Water. Every single knight has armor. They're walking their path, they're doing, but they have a set of armor on them. They want to be protected from whatever elements or whatever comes to them. And this element of protection, that this tough shell is asking us to release it. Asking us to release this tough, this hardness that's there. And to come into the nature, come into the earth, come into that trustedness. And we're trying to understand it. We're trying to, but the ego's there and it protects us. But there's anger. There's this anger. Now, whenever the solar flares get this disruptive, where they have done studies when the solar flare is this crazy, they have found that there's huge disruptions on the earth. And I believe that has to do with the anger. A lot of anger starts coming up. There's a lot of mistrust that goes on. And usually there is some form of a world war. And we're seeing it, unfold before. We're feeling this energy that's coming in. And this is where I feel like there's this discontent of how things are looking or how we want them to look. Whoa, as soon as I was talking about that, I felt like I just went through a freaking vortex. Like the energies just shifted in and around me. I've been having that a lot. So there's a lot of different timelines that are coming in and shifting for us, because I feel like there's this past, present, and future energy, and it's coming together, and these different timelines are coming to form the new one, this new timeline that is unfolding before us, a timeline that we have not lived before. There might be similarities from other timelines, from other dimensions, but they are coming in, and it's like these wires wrapping around this tunnel that we are walking through, that is being formed in our lives at this time. And sometimes it feels very discontented, feeling very, where the earth is unstable beneath us, which activates a lot, where we are unable to take all of it in. We're unable to digest it all. So it's overwhelmness. There's anxiety, there's fear, there's um the discontent. And here we are asked by God to come in and sit with this and accept it. And that's looking at things in our life, because things that might upset us, the, the dog needs a walk, the kitty litter's overloading, or we don't, there's financial troubles or issues that are coming in, that you felt you handled everything, but something is coming in, and where high fees and credit lines are are being cut, and you thought you had that money in the bank, and the bank says, nope, sorry, we're not doing it anymore. We're not giving you that line of credit anymore. We're cutting it in half. So this is where you thought you had something, or this is the way it was, and it's being taken away, or it's happened to you in the past and you're still dwelling on it, and it's time to let it go, because you can't control it all. It's in the hand of God. It's in the fates. And that's where we're on. We're in the hands of the fates. We're in the hands of the gods. And this is where we have to surrender this energy, because it's not for us to try and figure out every single detail of it. And we can't. We might want to. It's like when when people come to see me, they want me to tell I want to know a play by play. And I'm like, I can't give you a play by play. I can give you some energy, show you the energies that are coming forth. This is what is unfolding. But you still have a choice. If you don't want to accept that, that's your choice. But I can't give you a play by play. It's like when people ask me, is the person going to die? I can't tell you if the person's going to die. I feel death is there. I feel the angel of death is around them, but it's not for me to tell you when the death is going to come. It'll come when it comes. And it's like, in my fairy group, we were talking about ethics, and someone gave in a good example of it. And I can't remember who it was, but they shared a story. And it was Corey. Corey, I'm calling you out if you're on here. I'm sorry. But it was her realization that she got. I love Corey. And taking a Reiki class, and the Reiki master says that a friend of hers wants us to pray for her aunt. Pray for this person to get better. And her aunt was had a very, really bad stroke, on death's doorstep. And this is where the ethics come in. And I don't know why this is coming. Anyways, it's where you have to accept. Sometimes there's things in our lives that we don't want to accept. We don't want it to be a certain way. We want it to be different. We're tired of it being this way, or we're tired of this. So we believe we know what is best for that person, for that situation. But the only one who knows what is best is the one who's at the higher pay grade, and that's God. And that's why right now we don't know what's best for the earth. We think we know what's best for the earth. But this is where we have to give it up to God, to the Holy Spirit, and ask for inner peace and a miracle. We have to come back in with that energy of the earth, come in to know this is what I need to take responsibility for at this time and accept. I may not be able to accept everything else that is, and look at things that that I'm having problem accepting with. There's something it's just this last week. Crazy shit has happened again in our lives, but it's like, you know what? I can't handle that. It happened. I got to give it up and I got to let it go for whatever reason and accept whatever the consequences are with that, accept whatever it gets unfolded for me. And in doing that, I have to surrender. I have to surrender and allow for the guidance of God to come in. Because the thing is that many times we think we know what is best. We think this is the way that we need to do it. We think this is what is best, and we push against the truth of what is coming in and what we need to come forth. Sometimes we are the Four of Pentacles when we hang on to everything so tight. We're sitting on it, we're hanging on to it. Yeah, it's coming in, but I'm going to step on it. I'm going to hang on so tight for everything because this is the way it has to be. And God is saying no. And that's what I'm feeling right now. Is like God's saying no. You got to let it go. Things and are going to unfold the way that they need to unfold at this time. It doesn't mean that you don't prepare. It doesn't mean that you just ignore. But what it means is that you accept it and say, okay, what can I do about it? How can I, and this is, you don't spiritual bypass it. You don't push, this is where it's like, okay, I see what's going on. All right. What is the things that I need to prepare for in my own life? What do I need to prepare for in my day-to-day living, in my spiritual life, in my physical life, in my mental health? What am I doing to do that? Am I, especially when it comes to our mental health, are we dwelling on things that happened 20 years ago, 10 years ago? Oh, yeah, my dad was mean. Oh, yeah, my dad did this. Oh, yeah, my mom did this. Oh, my brother cut off my Barbie's hair. And we're still dwelling on it. And if you are still really stuck on things, what do you need to do about it in order to accept it or let it go and forgive it? You need to get some counseling. Cool. Get the counseling. Get the mentorship. That is going to help you to heal. That's going to help you to work with that shadow side, because Chiron's coming in. And when Chiron was first recognized in the 70s, it had us look at the world in a different way. If anybody looks at the energies and the transitions of the 70s, they're ridiculous. The 70s was crazy, fucked up energy, man. Fucked up cars, the Gremlin, the AMC Pacer. Like, give me a break. Went from beautiful Mustangs to like, what the fuck's this? We went from wearing some, crazy clothes and bell bottoms and just really funky things were happening at that time. And this is where, people standing up for their rights. Excuse me, I got something in my eye, just dropped in. Standing up for our rights, standing up for this, standing up for that, protesting, all of this. It was just a crazy time. Inflation rates up through the roof, right? So Chiron was coming in to get us to look at the world in a new way. We have a new moon hitting Chiron, getting us to look at the world in a whole new way, getting us to look at things in a different way. and the ego to accept the different viewpoints, and the ego accepting the healing and taking place, and the healing's coming through in a different way than what you expect, or that person is coming through, or that guide is coming through, and it's not the way that you want it to look. You want that guide to look somewhat different. You want the guide to be, I don't know, somebody who's pretty and has funky, beautiful hair and has looks like their life is all together. You want that guide. But in comes some crazy old person or old lady who wears funky clothes and has feathers in her hair and does things just crazy and erratic. And you're like, that's not the guide I want. She's too, or he's too crazy for me. Yet that person is the one who's helping you to give the instructions, helping you to give you the guide. And this is where when these timelines are coming in and the guidance is coming in, and the guidance is going to be kind of weird. And it's going to feel weird, and it's going to just like, nah, but this is where you got to check the ego at the door. Check the ego at the door. Because as I said before, who you think is in your alignment may not be. It's same with the countries. Who you think are our allies may not be our allies. Things are changing. Who you think is the best may not be the best. And an agenda or something is being pushed upon you. And you're like, no, that's just not right. That's just not right. And this is where I'm gonna bring in a fine example where our society has had Hollywood as an example of who we were or who we want to aspire to. This is a place where a lot of energy has been put towards for us to idolize and look at. These are people who ride in their limos, they're totally guarded, live a totally different life. These are like the lords and ladies of old who excluded themselves from the rest of the world, but that is the world you were supposed to idolize and see as moral. If you look into a lot of the and into the times of Louis the 14th and all of the kings and queens of old, they were fornicating and fucking everywhere. Their morals were not any, yeah, but they expect it. They came out with this polished look, this look of, look at me, idolize me, look at how I'm looking, because this is who you're supposed to follow. You're supposed to follow what we say. We know. And when you look at it and you take a step back and you're like, really, I'm supposed to follow that? No, 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 no. There's a reason why Ricky Gervais, the American or the UK comedian, came out and roasted everybody and called everybody out in Hollywood. Was calling them out. I think it was the Globes that he was hosting a few years ago, and he roasted. He came out with such truth that nobody came up and slapped him in the face, because they'd be like, "Oh, haha, I'm slapping you in because, yeah, all right, yeah, I am a pedophile." This is this is where we take a step back and we start to look at, it's like, where are we putting our energy? Where are we putting that? And we're seeing it. We're seeing it with whatever happened with Will and Chris. I mean, they're going to be making billions of dollars off of that fucking slap. Just saying. For however it comes out, they're going to make $1 billion off of it. And this is where I feel it is another piece of our society crumbling. And God is asking you to trust in him, because what we have put up on as idols, what we have put up as our faults, our failures, is crumbling before us. And with this new moon, which is going to be the astrological new year, it's springtime, it's the starting of the chart, it's starting. This is starting into being different than what you ever thought it would be. It's on top of Chiron. Chiron is the key. You look at the glyph, it looks like a key. It is that one that wants to bring you into something new and different, and into a different way of looking at the world around you, and opening up doorways that you never thought would open up. But before you, you will see the world crumble before you. If you read and look into what Florida State passed as a law, you know what? I wish more politicians would stand up for that and stand up for the rights of our children. Do you want Hollywood standing up for the rights of your children? Because they are the ones that are trying to force a narrative upon us that, are they in alignment with my values? Are they in alignment with what I morally stand for? Do I morally stand for a man who allows his wife to fuck whoever she wants to fuck and it's okay with him? Have an open marriage? Sure, if you can handle that. But I can tell you the male psyche, and you can go into, because there's a part of your soul with everything that you do, you give away. You give away. And there's a part there that these people have given away a lot of their souls to have what they have. Is that our moral compass in our world? And I know most of you are going to say, no, it isn't. But this is where this balsamic moon in Pisces is getting us to look deeply, to release whatever we need to release, and to accept all that we need to accept within our own lives. And put our trust in God that He will guide us and she will guide us, because the goddess isn't far away. As the world that you will see start to crumble around you. But that needs to happen. That's my old computer over here doing its little thing. It needs to happen. It needs to crumble. Because we need to start off with a new foundation. New moon on Chiron. How are we going to start this new foundation? How are we going to start with this new look? We're going to go through a huge rebuilding between now and 2025. And if that's an acceptance of the world war that's coming, it is because parts of what you believe or you think you believe, needs to fall away. The parts that you've been hanging on to, or this parts of democracy or you think is democracy, needs to fall away. How it needs to be rebuilt, then we have to go deeply within inside ourselves and ask, what do we want? And what does that look like? And that's what we are on. We're on this journey of change and acceptance. And it's a hard one. It's a big one. And it's a big fucking bullet to bite. But we're entering into it, and we're entering into something a little scary, a little unwavering, very shaky. And we were not going to have all the answers. But there's got to be an acceptance and trusting in God and having faith in God as this is going to unfold for us. So it's preparedness. How are you preparing? How are you preparing each and every day? How are you taking your steps within your world each and every day? And that's going to be the most, that's going to be part of your journey. Each of us has to do it. So we're going to connect. There's going to be a connection. There's going to be some connections that are going to come through, and it is for us to walk with the North Node. Don't get lost in the South Node right now in Scorpio. That's crazy. That's crazy shit, man. That's delusion that can get you into feeling of scarcity, feeling of loss, feeling, it can get very dark. We want to work with the Taurus energy, the energy of creating and wanting to make something, plant something. So that's the energies that we want to work with at this time. So I do have a spring sale on. My 1-hour readings are $90. You can contact me to book in a reading with the Guru Mama at gmail.com, and stay grounded, stay focused in what you need to do for yourselves. Come into that preparedness. There is some, right now there's no they're not putting limits on some things at this time, so it's a good time to look at what you want to get at this time. And the other thing is, I was going to bring this up, and it's all over the internet now. Look at, and Olivia hasn't come back, but she's like, is about Disney and how Disney is going to make half their stuff woke. And we're seeing it in shows that we're watching. It's like trying to push a narrative to make things normal. So look at what the narrative that they're trying to make that is normal. And that's where you got to look at your moral compass. And ask, is that normal? Is that right? So there's a huge push on different things that they want to start making normal, and they're not. They're disgusting. Just saying. They're just disgusting. So anyways, I want to leave this on a high note. I want us to step into our light and our love, and not to allow for our flame to be put out. And I want us to shine brightly in all that we say and all that we be and all that we do. So allow for the glory of God and the Father and the glory of the Mother and the Daughter to come forth and shine within you in all that you say and be and do. Know that you are beautiful beings upon this earth that are coming here to shine a light to everything that you do. So be that shining light, and don't let anybody take that flame away. So may the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say, be, and do, and onwards and upwards, my loves. And we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.